It's time for another blistering report from the front lines of the cultural war for a constitutional America. And now, here's your host, Charles Benninghoff.
The background image behind me today is a copy of a bill that I wrote. I'm sending off to Washington, D.C. with your assistance. The bill is entitled the NDAM bill, and it stands for Non-Disclosures Are Malicious. I hope you're going to help us get this law enacted, and if we do, we'll be able to screw James Comey, who's a dirty cop FBI director, and his paramour, Crooked Hillary. Now, this is going to be kind of complicated, so I got to give you some background, and then I got to tell you how we're going to do this. So please pay close attention. It's worth it. I assure you, this NDAM bill is going to bust open their gates. I'm going to tell you that. You know, FBI agents are disgusted with their dirty cop boss, James Comey, the Clinton Foundation enforcer, who protected Hillary Clinton from indictment for crimes that would land any ordinary American in prison for 10 years, and for even far less than that, a general's right now before the federal court system in the United States, and he looks up to 4 years in prison for doing far less than what Crooked Hillary's done. Did you know that Comey placed 25 FBI agents under a gag order by forcing them to sign a non-disclosure agreement? That's sometimes referred to as an NDA, and that's where we came up with the NDAM name. And we believe that this is a horrible, horrible restriction on America's law enforcement agents. And so we came up with a solution to this outrageous and fraudulent cop crime. As I said, I call it the NDAM bill. I'll tell you more about NDAM in a minute, but let me give you some more background first. These FBI agents might not have realized at the time that Comey was in fact preventing them from ever telling Congress and the voters the truth about what really went on during the Clinton email investigation. We're out for justice against everyone involved in this criminal conspiracy, and America needs the tools to bust up the Clinton-Comey crime family. James Comey, probably with the help of Hillary Clinton's lawyers, came up with a plan to keep Congress and the American people from ever learning the truth. We can't learn the truth right now, not through Congress and not through a Freedom of Information Act request, which you as a citizen have the right to petition for information from the executive branch and all other branches of the government except the courts. The reason is because of this fraudulent NDA, which is why we have proposed the NDAM bill. To connect all the dots, I'll first explain why we have a law called the Freedom of Information Act, also known by its initials, FOIA, and sometimes you hear that referred to as FOIA, 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 Freedom of Information Act. The Bureau of Investigation was formed in the 1920s and later became the agency that we now know as the FBI. The agency had the same director, if you can believe it, from 1924 until his death in 1972, a hooligan named J. Edgar Hoover. They make movies about him, one recently with Leonardo DiCaprio. Showed you how much of a pervert this guy was. Well, for almost 48 years, this Hoover guy ran the FBI. He became incredibly powerful over the years because he collected secret files on everyone with any influence in or around Washington, D.C. in the political or the social or the economic scene. He was able to remain in power because he had dirt on presidents, senators, representatives, and common old everyday Joes and Janes around the world. He was simply too powerful to fire. Hoover placed people on secret lists of subversives and communists and ruined their lives and careers. And in some cases, Hoover kept blackmail files on civil rights leaders and basically anyone who threatened his own power structure. This probably sounds familiar to all the Christians and Tea Partiers today, because Obama is the current day, the modern day Hoover, because he's done exactly the same thing, and he's placed all of us on his secret enemies lists. If you believe in the Constitution, the Bible, limited government, and individual rights, Obama probably has you on a list somewhere as a dangerous subversive threat or even as a terrorist. When Hoover was the director of the FBI, American citizens had no way of learning that they were on a secret list or not, or what information the federal government had about them. The Freedom of Information Act was a response to this abuse. It was about protecting your rights from an overzealous executive branch. So now, in 2016, James Comey and his FBI agents, under an NDA gag order, which effectively prevents them from telling the truth and stopping America from learning what they did. Comey also has ensured that American citizens can't get information through the FOIA process. Plus, Congress can't either because the FBI agents won't talk for fear of losing their pensions. He has thwarted the Freedom of Information Act through this tactic, and that is why we need to make a new law, NDAM. So Comey, another crooked FBI director, by the way, or any other federal grunt can't shut up federal employees or contractors if they know too much. The agent who investigated Hillary Clinton are all disgusted by the cover-up that Comey put in place. Comey didn't have a Clinton home searched. He had none of her devices or servers seized, and a grand jury was never impaneled to hear the evidence. In fact, some agents at Comey's direction smashed laptops and cell phones and destroyed boxes of evidence. Well, the patriotic agents who signed Comey's non-disclosure agreement are so disgusted they have to go out and hire their own attorneys to try to find enough legal wiggle room so they can talk to Congress about what happened. Plus, I'm 100% positive that those self-same patriotic FBI agents are the real source of the tens of thousands of crooked Hillary and putrid Podesta emails that are being leaked through WikiLeaks. Comey has effectively thwarted the FOIA laws through this gag order used as the NDA. The agents are scared they'll lose their jobs, their pensions, and maybe even go to jail if they testify. Without the ability to talk to Congress, there's no oversight of the FBI possible and no accountability. Comey has taken us back to the days of J. Edgar Hoover. The secret files that the government may or may not have on all of us. Those are bad days, and I was sure happy when we passed them up and passed FOIA. But now we're back there all over again because of Comey and his fellow conspirators, all of whom are Democrats. We want to bust up this Comey-Clinton protection racket. So I've written this piece of legislation to prevent the abuse of American citizens like this. And make no mistake about it, this is an abuse of your rights as an individual. Do you believe for 1 second that you would be allowed to smash all of your hard drives if you got a subpoena from Congress or the FBI? Not a chance. You did, you go to the slammer. The legislation we're proposing, NDAM, stands for Non-Disclosures Are Malicious, makes it a felony punishable by up to 50 years in prison for any federal employee, agent, or contractor who refuse to testify on account of an NDA that prevents disclosure under a congressional, federal court, or executive branch subpoena. In other words, if you signed an NDA, for example, under the direction of Comey, and that NDA is supposedly supposed to stop you from providing information about what you did in an investigation, my NDAM law will say that NDA is not any good. It can't be enforced. It's void. And Congress or the executive branch or a federal court can compel you to testify about everything that happened. The NDA, under my law, the NDAM law, makes certain that you are not restricted from telling the truth. The NDAM legislation that I wrote is simple, to the point, and we're seeking a member of Congress to propose it and put it into action. It says, now I'm going to go slowly on this one, so pay attention here. It says, be enacted by the Congress here assembled that, Section 1, whereas the non-disclosure agreements that FBI Director James Comey forced 25 FBI agents to sign while investigating Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's email crimes were designed to hide the truth from the American people in Congress. Therefore, this act ensures that no NDA signed from January 1, 1900 forward by a federal employee, agent, or subcontractor purporting to restrict the signatory from testifying pursuant to a lawful subpoena or court order shall be effective as to subpoenas or demands to testify about the same made by the House, Senate, executive branch, or any federal judge. Then, Section 2 says, the prescribed penalty to be imposed if found guilty in a court of law for refusing to testify as hereunder by such NDA signatory, after being advised of the provisions of this statute and given the right to representation of counsel, whether provided for by the U.S. federal government or not, and advised upon the same, shall constitute a felony punishable by no less than 10 years and no more than 50 years. That's the end of the NDAM legislation. It's very simple, as you saw. It's not even one page. What it says is, if you sign an NDA and the executive branch, Congress, or a judge wants to know what you did, that NDA has no effect whatsoever. And if you are told about the existence of the NDAM law and you're represented by an attorney and you refuse to still testify about what you did based upon what was in that NDA, you're guilty and you can be put in the slammer for 10 years to 50 years. That's the way to protect America. Force these employees of the federal agencies to testify. Force the subcontractors to testify. Don't allow them to cover up details simply because they signed a piece of paper with a non-disclosure agreement or some other equivalent term written across the top. We cannot allow dirty cop Comey's fraudulent NDA to prevent the American people from knowing the truth. Either we, the people, are ultimately in charge of federal agencies through our representatives and senators in Congress, through the judges that they put into office, or through our president, or we're slaves to everyone, and we can be jailed or executed at the whim of some unaccountable and lawless executive branch, as is being done now by FBI Director James Comey. I hope you'll go to our action page today and speak out. The information that I've just given you is very detailed, and even though the legislation I wrote is quite simple, the historical and factual background for the reasons why we need the NDAM legislation is kind of complicated. So maybe you should go back and listen to the whole thing. I promise you, it'll be well worth your time. Please, if you can, go to our action page and speak out. We'll have instructions on our next screen describing how to get there and what to do. This is Charles Benninghoff signing off and wishing you freedom, fulfillment, and God's many blessings.
Tell Congress to pass the Non-Disclosures or Malicious Act of 2016 so we can stop the Comey-Clinton email cover-up. If you're on our action page on our website, use the form next to the video screen to select a program. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, click the icon appearing now to find the link to our action page, or check the video's description to find the link. Speak out to Congress today.